I finished it. I told y'all I wouldn't, but I got to a certain part over halfway through, and I was like, there's no way I can put this down, so I didn't, and I continued and loved it. The author is Michael Scott, and this is The Alchemist, The Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel. I thought it was a really, really good book, and I would highly suggest it to anyone who likes magical things. As for the book itself, the story is wonderful. I'm trying to think of another word other than fantastic in every sense of the word, because that's what I used in my written review, which is already up, and I will link that below. I really like how Scott creates his world. He creates a different world inside our own world, which is really interesting to me. And he creates little pockets of his world that we don't even know exist, or that do exist or don't exist, but exist between realms and things, which is really interesting. And you see one in depth and in close and in particular, and it's just amazing the way he crafted it. His use of mythology, it blew me away, because I adore mythology, for one, and for two, he takes mythologies from all over the world and mashes them together into a history and a truth in this world that's almost believable, that you can almost fathom would exist. So it's not like so very strange and out there that you're like, this is totally unrealistic. It's obviously unrealistic because there's magic, but if there was magic, this could possibly, I really liked that he used Nicholas Flamel, who was a real man, which he explains in the author's note, and just pretty much everything he explains in the author's note I really liked. That Nicholas Flamel was a real man, his wife was real. Dr. John Dee, who is the villain in this one, was a real man, and they were both supposedly into alchemy and all of these things, and it's really interesting, and I really like how he ties history and true history legend. There is a legend that Nicholas Flamel did find the immortality and succeeded in alchemy and all of that, and that's the point of this book, kind of, and I really liked that. I liked how he changed or added to history, kind of, and explained some historical events through these new creatures and these new beings and these new things that are existing in his new world. As for the characters, I really like most of them. The two main characters are the twins, Sophie and Josh. I like that they exist, and I do like the characters as well. They're 15, so you don't have the I'm everything, I know everything, but you kind of have the set, you can't lie to me kind of thing. Sophie, she's not my favorite, but I do like her. I think she's a likable person. Josh is my favorite because he questions everything, which is a really good thing, in my opinion, in life. So, Nicholas Flamel, who is the immortal alchemist guy, he's likable, he's enjoyable. I personally don't like him, and I'm not entirely sure about him, but as a character, I really think he's interesting, and I think the way that Scott developed him and uses him and says things through him is really, really interesting. You're learning the story through Josh and Sophie, who just stepped into this world that they never even fathomed. So it's all like a natural flow, and you're learning as they learn, which I really liked. That's back on the Sophie thing before I moved on to Nicholas. Dee Dr. John Dee, the villain, is a really good villain. I really, really, really like him as a villain. I guess you can call him a villain, bad guy. I like the word villain better. For the most part, I like him in general. He's really interesting, and I'm not sure about him either, but I do know I like him. My favorite two characters are Pernell or Paranell Flemel, which is Nicholas's wife. You don't see a lot of her because she's off somewhere else during most of the story, but what you do see of her, you get a well-developed character out of the few times you see her. You get a lot of the emotion, you see a lot of what's important to her and how she feels and things like that. And she's very strong-willed, very strong-minded, determined woman, and I think that's excellent. My other favorite character, whose name I cannot actually pronounce, is Scatty. That's what they call her. That's a nickname. It's Scathach, so like Cathach or something. She's really interesting. She's just very badass, for lack of another word, or better word, I guess. She's just very strange and mysterious, but you know enough about her that you're not like, why are you underdeveloped? It's enough that you know he put time into this, but it's also, you know that he's obviously leaving things out, or that just certain things just don't come up in the natural flow of the story, and it leaves you guessing and wondering a little bit, and it's really, really interesting. I want to know who her mother is. Yeah, she's really neat, and I just like her spunkiness, and as things get revealed about her, you're like, oh, that makes sense, yeah. But it's never like, well, duh, of course. So it's not obvious. I will say there's one point at the book where you're like, oh, I know what happens next. Really, don't run the book almost at the end, and then you're like, oh, maybe it won't. Oh, yep, that's how it's going to go. Oh, that's not how it went. That was unpredictable. So it seems a little predictable, but then the ending is just like, huh? That just happened. It did? Okay, just checking. It's really good. Really, really good. I had something else to say about it, and I forgot it now. But I'm sure I'll remember at some point, and I'll put it on our Tumblr. By the way, we do have a Tumblr, which I will put in the linky things with both of our personals and all of that stuff over there. Yeah, as far as a rating system, I don't have one. Tiffany said we don't need one, but I want one, so I'm going to create one just for myself. And I don't know what it is yet, but this right here is awesome, and I would highly suggest it. I do highly suggest it. I Goodreads'd it 5 stars. I don't like that rating system much. I like it for other people, but I want to be more interesting or something, so yeah. Currently I am reading If I Stay by Gail Foreman, so look for that review eventually. And I started my bookshelf tour and lost my bookshelf tour all in like one sitting, so that's not happening. And yeah, I guess that's really all. And what have you been up to? What are you reading, Tiffany? I don't remember. I don't think you've told me yet what you're reading at this moment, so you should do that. And I got you a birthday card, and it's awesome, and you're going to love it if you understand it. I'm sure you will. I hope you will, because I did, and I just almost died, and I was like, one of us has to have this. So I'm going to send that to you soon. Yeah. So I love you, and I will see you later.